so I haven't gotten the notification yet. Wait. Get in here. Nobody knows I'm on yet, so I'm just talking to myself. Did I get the notification? Okay, I'm live. Conservative Mama's live. I got a couple minutes. Let's talk Bernie, socialism. Socialism. Can you believe that we're here? Can you believe that we're talking socialism? That it's now mainstream in the Democrat Party? Because it's happening. It's happening. Hey, Alabama. Hey, Ken. Hey, Rick. Get in here, guys. I wasn't going to go live today, but then Bernie Sanders won the Nevada caucus. So here I am, just here to say, hey, you're not dreaming. This is reality. And the Democrats are terrified. Leftists, socialists, communists, they're cheering. Trump is happy. He's going to face off against a communist, basically. And before someone says, oh, Bernie Sanders is not a communist, he's praised communists in the past. Multiple communists. He honeymooned in the Soviet Union. And communism, okay, socialism is the state owning what you produce, and communism is the state owning production. So they're the same thing, right? And just because you want to put democratic on the front of it doesn't change socialism, right? Like it doesn't change it. And you got to be an idiot to think, oh no, we elected it in, so then socialism is okay. Socialism that's killed over 100 million people in the last 100 years is okay if you if you elect it. Is that what you're saying, Bernie Bros? That it's okay if you elect it? It's absurd. I can't believe we're even here. First of all, I'm going to say this. I think that if Bernie gets the nominee, and it's looking like he's going to get the nominee, that we will win. Trump will get another 4 years. Moderate Democrats that have a brain, they're not going to go vote for a socialist. They're just going to stay home. They're going to be frustrated. They're going to be upset, and they're going to be like, screw it. This is the dumbest thing ever. And someone was like, they said to me, they're like, well, Rachel, the public school system is a great example of socialism. And I'm like, that's a great example of why we don't want socialism, because our young people, it's the young people here, they're getting Bernie in, that are looking to nominate a communist for the Democratic nominee for president. So I don't know how our school systems are working if we're looking at nominating communists to be a party nominee for president. That's a clear example of how they're failing. And our school systems are failing, just so you know. So yeah, if you want to bring up public schooling as a great example of socialism, that's just comical, right? And then also, okay, let's just talk about Bernie for a second, okay? The guy has lived off of the public dole, okay? He's lived off of your tax dollars his entire adult life. He's never done anything. He's never created a job. He has no innovative thought. Nothing. He's a career politician. A perfect example of why we need term limits. Okay, I'm a term limit person. It was never intended to be a career. Our founding fathers never designed holding public office to be a career. This is what happens when you hold office for a lifetime. You no longer are beholden to your constituents. You're there because lobbyists want you there and your big donors keep you there. Okay, so that's the only people you really work for at that point. You don't work for your constituents. So term limits. Bernie Sanders should not have been there forever, right? Okay. He owns 3 homes. He's profited off of capitalism. He's made a living off of capitalism, but he wants socialism for you. Okay. He's been in public office and yet is a millionaire. Okay? You can't become a millionaire making the congressman's salary that you make. Okay? He's doing deals backdoor, and if you're not smart enough to put that together, lobbyists have probably bought his second and third home for him. Okay? Also, Bernie says he wants to help the poor, right? I mean, it's all about helping the poor. No one should have to live like, he's angry. He's an angry old man. Okay? Just angry. You can't, because that's what greed does to you. That's what envy does to you. Every socialist Bernie bro I know, not happy. These people are miserable. They're angry. They go after people that are conservative. They go after people that speak up for freedom and individual liberty. They go and shoot up a baseball field. They're angry people, just like Bernie. The kingdom looks like the king. Okay? So he wants to help poor people, right? He wants to really help the poor. Aren't we supposed to be the change we want to see? I mean, aren't you supposed to be the change you want to see? If you're the change you want to see, then you wouldn't give 1% of your income to charity, like Bernie Sanders does. 1% of his income to charity. Because he doesn't believe in helping the poor. He doesn't believe in what he says he believes in. He wants you to do it. That's the problem. They want you to do it. It's always you go first with socialists, with the environmentalists. They don't want to live like ocean tides are rising. It's all gonna come to an end here soon. They don't want to live like that. They want you to go first. You to do it. These are leftists. This is how they live. This is how they operate. You go first. Bernie gives 1% of his income to charity. So that right there is just bullcrap. You got to look at this guy and say, you're a walking fraud. And he's, okay, and I said this last night on Twitter. I have a background acting, directing, and producing. I was in the Screen Actors Guild, improv comedy. I was raised in theater, studied under some of the greatest coaching I've ever had. And I will tell you, Bernie Sanders is the best actor I've ever seen. Ever. I'm serious. He makes the greats look not great. He has convinced millions of people within our country to welcome socialism. This should scare the hell out of anybody out there that loves America and loves freedom. And I'm not taking this lightly. I am excited that we get to face off against socialism, but in no way, because I posted the other day, like, yay, Bernie's got it. And people thought like I was cheering for Bernie. No. I'm very concerned about socialism and communism in our country. I'm very concerned about the normalization of it. Because socialism takes your freedom, it takes your choice, it takes your individual liberty away from you. And it gives your choice, your liberty, your freedom over to the state, over to the government. And when you give your freedom and your power and your choices over to the government, they hold the power. They therefore hold all power, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. This has happened time and time again throughout history. Pol Pot, Idi Amin, Lenin, Stalin, Hitler. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Even if you elect these people in, right? That's what the Democrat socialists say. Well, we're electing them in. Just because you elect someone that says they want to do all this, when you give that somebody all that power, they become corrupted. It's inevitable. And if you don't believe it, then you have not read history. Then you have not studied history. Because every single dictator that comes on the scene that wants socialism, I mean, Hitler was a socialist. They make these promises that sound wonderful, right? But then they're given this power. And people are corrupt. It corrupts you. It does something to you. And it's terrifying that we have these young people that are cheering this on because they want what somebody else has. It's envy. We see a Democratic presidential campaign running on envy. You want to talk greed? They're always pointing at Wall Street and the big corporations. Greed is taking what somebody has earned away from them and giving it to other people. That is greed. That is wrong. My almost 8-year-old son said, he overhears me talking because I'm always talking politics. And he's like, well, what is socialism? Socialism is the state coming in and taking what others have earned and redistributing it to other people that have not earned it. He's like, that's not fair. And I'm like, no, it's like me taking your toys, or you go work. My son, you go work and you mow lawns and you get that money and you go buy yourself a nice toy. And then I take that toy and give it to Tommy because, Tommy wanted it. That's not right. So, also, I want to really quick, because people are idiots. Well, we don't want Venezuela socialism. Oh, we don't want like Cuba socialism. No, like we don't want like Nicaragua socialism. We want like Nordic country socialism. Okay, let's talk about the Nordic countries really quick, because there are people out there that actually think the Nordic countries are socialist, when in fact the Denmark Prime Minister got up and said, hey, we're not socialist. We have a market economy. Okay, the Swedish countries, the Nordic countries are market-based economies. They're not socialist economies. So the minute somebody starts talking Denmark, Norway, Sweden, say, those are market-based economies. They are not socialist economies. Also, these countries are about 1/60th the size of the United States. They're also almost 100% homogenous, meaning that they all share the same culture, ethnicity, and race environment, which is the opposite of America. We are a melting pot with thousands upon thousands of different cultures and races and ethnicities represented in our country. Okay, so those are a couple things. Also, they have no minimum wage. Okay, so let Bernie know that, because these countries don't have a minimum wage. They also advocate for school choice. Socialism does not want school choice. Socialism wants a state-run schooling. Okay, the state runs the schooling. It's indoctrination. Basically, what we have now in our public school system, but thank God we have charter schools and we have private schools and we have homeschooling where people are not forced to all attend one schooling set up by the state. That's socialism. These Nordic countries like school choice so much that they provide vouchers for private schools to enable competitiveness amongst the schooling in the Nordic countries. Tell that to the teachers' unions here in America. They hate competitiveness. Teachers' unions want everybody going to the same school. They don't want charter schools popping up. They don't want private schools popping up because they don't want anyone competing against them. They want a crappy education for everyone around. And so therefore they don't support that, and neither does Bernie. Ask him about school choice, people. Unbelievable. These countries basically have high taxes. Okay? That's what the Nordic countries have. And in return they have free health care. Now this free health care, if you want to see a doctor, takes you about 6 months to a year to get in to see a doctor. Also, let me check here. My sister just tweeted me And she was telling me, hold on, let me find what she said. She was telling me she's got a good friend that lives, I think it's Norway. And she said, yeah, she says she had to write a letter to make an appointment to see a doctor. And then she waited months to hear back about whether to hear back, but can call to cancel an appointment. So she had to write a letter to get into the appointment. Then writing letters. Okay, you're writing letters in to see a doctor, and then in return they'll write you back when you can get in. If you have to cancel, you have to write back, and the process takes forever. In the meantime, you could die. But hey, free healthcare, right? Free healthcare. I also have a woman, I go on the radio with her often. She runs a radio show out of Vermont, and she lived in Canada almost her entire life. And her daughter almost died because of the Canadian healthcare there. Almost died. She almost lost her kid. I should have her on at some point and she can just share the story. That they couldn't get to her in time. And she almost lost her child because she was waiting for this state-ran healthcare. And here we are. Here we are with the Bernie bros. The people that sadly have gone to an indoctrinated school, man. And I got it too, man. I went to a state school, college, and I sat there with these leftist wing, capitalist hating, men hating. They really hate men. Oh my gosh, I had to go to so many classes bashing the white male. And thank God I had a head on my shoulders. You know, thank God I was raised by parents that challenged my thought. Thank God I had parents that were like, what? And they would argue, they would debate. We had so much debating in my family. So much debate. Debate your kids. They start coming up with crazy ideas. Debate them. Challenge their thought. These parents, you send your kids off to these schools. I mean, I kind of was like, well, maybe. And my parents are like, let's debate it, Rachel. You think that? Let's debate it. And I was always like, oh, yeah, you're right. That's stupid. So stupid. Debate your kids. Question your kids. Question your teachers. Question your professors. These guys are leftists. They made a goal a long time ago to infiltrate our school system, guys, and they've done it. They've done it, and sadly, that's the result of these Bernie people. They believe this guy that's profited off of capitalism, never held a job outside the private sector, doesn't give anything to poor that he says he's so caring about and concerned about, and they believe what he says. That blows my mind. That's how they think. That's how they think. So I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I'm going to dive more into socialism because I think a lot of people, they don't know how to argue it with family and friends. They don't know how to, they're like, I know it's bad, but I don't know how to say it's bad. Go through this. This video will help what I've said so far if you're just now joining. It'll help you argue back. You got to know why you disagree with what you disagree with, and you got to know why you agree with what you agree with. So, I mean, and the Nordic countries, like I mentioned, they're not socialist countries. Okay. They have a socialist type healthcare system where they pay up the butt for it. And then they have to wait forever to see a doctor. Socialist countries take a good look at Venezuela. Take a good look at Cuba. I don't see anybody in America getting on a boat and trying desperately to get to Cuba. We actually see hundreds and thousands of people trying to get on a boat to get away from Cuba. But this is what happens, right? Bernie's set, guys. Bernie's set. He's got his millions. He's now with the richer, the more wealthy. Socialism eliminates the middle class. Me, you, we're gone. Like, you either are super wealthy or you're super poor under socialism. There's no middle class. It's gone. And also, people in the Nordic countries that are taxed so heavily, I want you guys to understand, they don't own much. Talk to people that live in Denmark. Talk to people that live in Sweden. Talk to people that live in Norway. They rent. They have their little flat. They have their little apartment. They have their rented car. They don't own property. They don't have assets. They don't own a home because it's so expensive. They're taxed so much that they have very little to their name. And listen, if you want that, guys, like honestly, if you're socialist on here and you don't want to own anything, you want the government to take care of you, go live in Cuba. And if you want to be heavily taxed and get free health care and wait, a year to see a doctor, go live in a Nordic country. But don't try to put it on us Americans. Because we are a country founded on the individual. We're founded on liberty for the individual. It is our decision, and we should be able to choose what we want for ourselves. That's why we were founded. We fought a revolutionary war because a king was telling us how to live. A king was telling us what kind of taxes were going to be placed on our goods. A king was forcing his power and authority on us, and we said, no, you're not going to tell us what to do. We're Americans, and we fought a bloody war, and we earned our freedom, and we're not going to lose it now to a bunch of Bernie bros socialists. Seriously, we fought too hard. Too many of our American soldiers have bled and died for our freedom, for our liberty. For us to chalk it up to some guy that had a heart attack that's conning millions of millennials. It's a disservice to those who have fought for our freedom. Because you don't have freedom under socialism. You don't have freedom under communism. It's gone. I don't know how to get that through to these people. And when you give authority and power over to somebody like this, to an entity like this, that entity becomes corrupt. And that's when you see dictators rise up. And that's when you see totalitarianism. It's under socialism. It's under communism. So I'm fired up. I'm fired up because we've got too many people have been just completely manipulated and blinded into believing what the and to the media. Man, you guys. The media has been silent because they hate Trump so much that they've not been true to the American people and exposed socialism and what communism does to countries and what it does to the individual. Maybe now they'll start talking, but I don't have a lot of hope. So it relies on people like me. It relies on alternative news sources for you to go out and find it and find the truth, man. You don't like Trump? That's fine, but find out the truth. What is with people not wanting to know the truth? I want to know the truth. I always want the truth. And if I'm wrong on something, I'll admit it once I discover the truth. If I discover the truth and I'm like, wow, Rachel, you were off track there, then I will readjust course. But the goal for all of us is to find the truth. And Bernie Sanders is lying to you. He is not telling you the truth. You're being lied to. All right. I gotta run. That was a little bit more fired up than I thought. But I mean, this is nuts, right? This is crazy. It's crazy we're here. And you can't sit home, guys. We have to rise up and defeat this in a landslide. I'm talking just wipe this stuff off the planet of our country, off the planet, but definitely off our country. We are going to rise up and say no socialism, no communism, no to this revolution type crap propaganda that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the squad and Bernie are trying to infiltrate into our country. No. We will rise up and we will say no, because too many have fought and died for our individual freedom, and we're not giving it up now to a bunch of greedy socialists. All right. We'll talk later. Bye, guys. Share this video.